33 turns! How did... If you can't tell by my more animated demeanor, even more so than usual, we have something in store for you. Welcome to the nightmare. Welcome to Random's Thoughts. It's time for Fright Night. Full disclosure at the start, I am of course a content affiliate, and we are officially getting prizes from the Smoking Gun Interactive team, which is awesome. This is our third Fright Night event, but the first one where we're actually going to have prizes and players are competing for some awesome swag. So here we are into round 2 of Fright Night number 3. The competitors are absolutely warmed up, and we're zoning into crypto, a match between our blue player CATMADD and our orange player NekoKawaii. We've seen some pretty eventful games, some pretty exciting games up to this point. The players are actually in the midst of round 3 as we speak, but we're taking a peek at round 2, playing it a little bit behind. I got to do all the admin stuff and all the behind the scenes stuff. So we're going to see what these players do. In this case, it seems to be fairly standard. Get some gravediggers, we get a jar, we get a 1-drop, nothing too out of the ordinary for crypto, which just recently came back into the rotation. Neither player are really interested in banking keys, which is notable because for a while this very much was a beauty map. This was a map where, if you have beauty, you play beauty. And that's something that not everybody had access to. I don't know if I like this map or not. It's not a very popular one when beauty was the terror running around. Since the nerf, I honestly haven't seen that many beauties at all. But maybe we'll see them showing up on this map, because line attackers, if you get them on the stim and somebody puts something in the middle, they can go pew 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 and annihilate whatever's on the stim as well as on the heart. So you can definitely set up some mean things. But we don't have that yet. Blasto is still cracked for sure. It might be. But in the meantime, we're getting... well, I was going to say it's mostly things you'd expect, but Stabby's a little abnormal. A little bit. Bozo here... Bozo the Clown probably is an answer to Stabby, but we do get a Kerbloom, and we saw that in an early game. Oh, no. So, we saw a Kerbloom used to great effect in an earlier game. Here, it's probably not even going to do anything. Now, the advance here, like this aggressive invade, all of this stuff reeks of, I'm committing onto you so that you will lose something. But we'll see how NekoKawaii answers. Can they punish CATMADD for invading this hard? There's the expected Kerbloom detonation, at least from what we saw. Probably not the expected one from CATMADD, and that hurts because it is a higher key unit. It's not just simply boom. Now, we may get a dead cassowary here, but that could lead to a dead Stabby. This is damaged. Is it? No, it's not damaged. Never mind. They didn't actually go after it. But you do still have Jar and Bowmangles in range. Plus, of course, the Gravedigger could swing down and help out. That would also allow a recap because it's a 2-to-1 panic point advantage for our blue player. The reinforcements here for blue, Moly Bully's been there, but Cassowary's showing up. 2 keys rip is right. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Ooh, so we get the Murder Wing who's going to lay down some meatballage. Get the body block from the Gravedigger, which you love to see, because the Gravedigger can yet still go in. And because of this is a great heads-up play, blocking the Moly Bully so that it can't get through and punch your jar. There's no effective way for it to get through. The other notable thing is that Neko did not, in fact, send in the Gravedigger to cap the center point, which is notable that, okay, well, you could have gone in, but... we do ultimately see a dead jar because the statue's in range of the jar. I had a brain fart for a second. Maybe it would have been better to send the Gravedigger in ultimately, because then it just gives them another target. I have to imagine that you'd rather have the jar still alive than the Gravedigger. But I guess it's not impossible to be comfortable with this situation. 3 Phobies to 4, 5 keys to 6 remaining. It's actually advantage orange player here, despite the lower panic point count, including the fact that there are 3 range Phobies to only 2. Now, one of them is the newly added Stairmaster, so it's nothing to sneeze at there. But we're going to see a 2-to-1 panic point advantage going the other way, thanks to this Gravedigger going chop, 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 and eliminating that Eternal Knight. The penultimate phobie, or what I assume is going to be the penultimate phobie for our orange player, is Baby Snakey. 0 keys remaining for our blue player. They have to do it with just what they have on the board. And this is scary because whatever you commit here is going to... Okay, they're not going to commit. Or are they? They're not. So, I was going to say that whatever you commit here is going to be in range of getting hit by 3 phobies. The Murder Wing Meatball, the Baby Snakey, as well as the Gin Sting. But the rotation means that that's not going to happen. At least not for now. We're getting some weird repositioning. So it's actually going to be multiple final phobies for our orange player. Get a Bachelor follow-up. Okay, just taking care of some admin stuff. I had to pause briefly there. We still have 9 more turns to this game, but you can kind of see where it's going. It's going to be a dance for just getting, you know, chip damage here and there. Although this may not be chip damage. This needs to be an elimination, I think. Or otherwise, this is a dead Murder Wing. Maybe not. Because you need to kill the Bachelor in order to get the Stairmaster in position, which would then just die anyway. I didn't double check the health on this. Wow, the Murder Wing just pays for its sins. Now that means that the Moly Bully is probably going to die, and trading phobies like this is favorable for our orange player. Because now it's 3-2, soon to be 4-2, unless they go 1-1. And we get a Resurrect phobie, which I like in this position. It's going to be difficult for the blue player to actually deal with, the Resurrection. And now it's a 2-to-1 panic point advantage. So at this stage, I'm not sure what they do. The invade here is kind of ballsy. It's a little ballsy, including this, because you can just shell each of these phobies for a significant amount of damage, but I imagine that you're going to get the Stairmaster, and then it's like Jar against 3 phobies, including a resurrecting one. So we do get a dead Bow Mangles, but we're going to get a dead Jar. Or we should. And in fact, this Gin Sting is now in position to fight the Heart. I think we all know where this is going. We can skip through the rest of the turns. But well played, both players. Ultimately, it looks like our orange player took it down. So GG, well played. 33 turns! How did... Okay, this is round 2 of Fright Night number 3, and as you could tell from my initial exclamation, 33 turns on Biff's Room is a slight amount out of the ordinary. We have Drewid with the Snot Monster avatar zoning in the blue trunks. Quagmire, for anybody who's unfamiliar. And we have staygold zoning in the orange trunks with a triple 1-key phobie opener here on this particular small map. Now, the opener from Drewid is a little weird. You do get a double turret setup, sort of, because you have Gesundheit. Gesundheit I don't consider a turret because it is not. It is not all that sturdy. Instead, we get a more traditional turret, to a degree. I mean, it's 4 keys, in Unbearable. Of course, Stabby supplements the aforementioned Gesundheit, and we're getting the great standoff here with a 1-to-1 panic point spread. 4 phobies to 4 phobies. Blue player does bank. Blue player does bank. But our orange player now has elected to max out their phobie count by introducing Venus. 2 1-move phobies to 2 1-move phobies. We'll have to see how this goes. The AWOL is dancing. I don't usually like AWOL this early in the game, similar to the Boom and just the general Boom family. It's very easy for those phobies to just, oops, I died kind of thing. But our blue players is running this fairly patiently. Fairly patiently. They, in fact, bring in another long-range phobie, one of the longest-range phobies in the game, and that is Innocuous. Once again, maxing out at 5 phobies, but I imagine that's not going to be the case for very long. 2-to-1 panic point advantage has now shifted in favor of the blue player. Both players, well, I was going to say both players are playing it cautiously, but I think Drewid is being significantly more aggressive with their positioning, whereas we have instead a very defensive posture from staygold, which I'm not sure that's what they need right now. I think they need to be committing this Unbearable in, even though they're clearly trying to avoid the poison. I think you need to make something happen here. What that something is up for debate, I guess, but I'm not sure what's happening with this positioning right now. This is just going to be a dead cat alongside a damaged Gesundheit. This is a very difficult position to break for staygold. They did bank to 6, as well as the blue player, but the blue player is maxed out. Druid, in fact, cannot add any more Phobies to their team at the moment. But staygold does have a slot open, so I have to wonder, are they going to go over the top? Ooh, we might see a 9-cost Phobie. Or 8. There's a variety of different big nasties that could show up that could pose a serious issue for Druid, but here, for now, we're getting a softened up Venus. I imagine there's a trap here, and I think this past turn, another trap could have gone down. So I'm curious where the second one is laid. But I have to imagine one of them has ended up on this panic point at some point. Ooh, so we get a Russell. This is at level 1, so I'm very curious how this is going to play out. 3 Phobies here are vulnerable to this. The Inoculus is not, but there is going to be a poison dimensional that's going to demand either a Muffin or a Clinico. Now that chews through nearly all of our orange players' keys at this stage, with 12 remaining for our blue player. So we see the staging of, I don't want to say an invade, but we need to get better positioning in order to make some of this matter. So we do get the Russell going down. I love this animation. It looks sweet. It looks awesome. But we see the Russell going down, which for anybody who's not sure what that means, we get 200 damage poison for 4 turns on the entire map, specifically opposing Phobies. And it's a 2-to-1 panic point advantage for our orange player because the cat ate the trap that happened earlier. Now the jar positioning here, possibly a little suspect. It is a little far forward, but ultimately we get the stabby retreating so that way it gets hit by the excuse me, by the Muffin, and we get a Pescetti follow-up. So instead of disease, we're going to see a whole bunch of poison. Or, excuse me, instead of poison, we're going to see a whole bunch of disease from our blue player. I said that backwards. We're going to get some damage going down on this creep. It's actually going to retreat. Which, yeah, I guess it had to. You can't kill it with the jar. The jar could have been here to begin with, and then it would have been in a safer position. But ultimately, it does get bit by this poison, which is part of the reason I had to retreat. Otherwise, the Inoculus advances and also takes it down. And we're once again back to, I'm not sure how our orange player advances. 5 keys remain for our blue player, 4 for our orange player. We will see a dead creep, but we're also going to see disease going down on either Unbearable or Russell. Neither of which you're super excited about as the orange player. That's, well, I guess if they're going to poison the Unbearable, then that means they're not getting the jar. Or you body block with this. So 3 keys remaining. Maxed out Phobies here. This is a weird force because the Russell outside of its poison also can do 450 AoE. It's a melee attack. So it does represent a threat, but you have to actually get on things and you got to run this gauntlet of Stabby and Inoculus. I guess the Clinico is a preemptive answer to the Russell poison / the Henrietta poison, which honestly I think I would rather have seen the Henrietta go for poison rather than the panic point. The reason being is then you get a Clinico going off to try and remove it hypothetically, and then you can Russell poison it afterwards. They could have also just waited, so maybe it would have been a waste, and it's better to cap the point, but clearly you're just getting the point recapped by this cowbell. It is what it is. At this point, I'm not sure what Phobie for 3 keys or less digs staygold out, but we're getting a cowbell as the follow-up. I guess this is to avoid a disease, because although you don't take the disease as mechanical, you still take 250 damage and then an Inoculus hit, which would kill the cowbell, which is... Sure, you can do that. There's no real way to punish it, though, so I guess I get it. Ooh, the trap here means that the Venus trades for the cowbell. Not something you really want if you're our orange player. We do see the Russell squawking up a storm. Oh, yeah, this is not mechanical. For some reason, I was thinking Pescetti was mechanical in my head, but it's actually dimensional. So the Clinico from a few turns ago makes much more sense. Anybody who's watching this on YouTube and screaming, "You fool, it's dimensional," well, there you go. I realized it. So we are getting a significant amount of heart damage, 2,600 going down. It has the unicorn. We'll have to see if Stay Gold can actually put this together. Is this a dead unbearable? Ooh, that's a dead unbearable. That hurts. That's a big hurtin'. Get the cleanse going down on the stabby, and Contortio is the final phobie from our blue player. 5 to 4, not a whole lot of damage, although you can get a bunch of AoE from Russell. But I don't think this is going to be nearly enough to actually make this happen. I don't know that Unicorn is really what you wanted in this scenario. Oh no! Could have AoE'd and gotten some damage on the stabby. It probably doesn't matter. Maybe it was actually to avoid that, but I'm pretty sure the combination of these two kill Russell. Now, there is an outside chance that, due to the fact that Orange's phobies are all up on our blue player, that they can get some further takedowns. But, I mean, look at this. Look at this. It's like, okay, you're going to get a hit with Unicorn and 2 hits with Jar. It's not going to make it much longer. You do get the Clinico elimination. Clinico elimination does happen, but this is going to be a dead Unicorn, and then it's just... we're going to wait it out. I think we can safely skip ahead on these. 2 turns remaining. Unicorn goes down. And then all of a sudden, ball game. GG and well played. All right, so we're back. It is still round 2. Well, it's round 3, but we're watching some round 2 games. This time between our blue player, Sgrunkly, and our orange player, theandykat. Now, we don't see a Gravedigger showing up just yet. And as I say it, we have a Gravedigger showing up on the orange player's side. So... we're well into the tournament. At this stage, players are clearly warmed up. They know what they're doing, or at least you would hope they would, because otherwise it's probably going to be a quick exit. So, what are we going to see here on Lights Out? What are we going to see on Lights Out? We get a Spud, which is interesting, choosing to go for the lob rather than the break, because you could have the lob later anyway. But we're getting a fairly large investment early on. Neither player really banking that high, both to 4 keys in this case, and electing to put a lot of material onto the board. Now, the cap here from the Henrietta by our blue player leaves a little bit to be desired because they were down 1 keys. What do I mean by that? Well, there was already a 1 key on the board for our orange player, so you, as the initiator here, electing to cap that point means you're just going to lose your 1 key. Now, we do get an invade going down on this Gravedigger, but... okay, we get the Gravedigger break. This is a cool play. You get the Gravedigger break, which allows the Spud to actually add some damage to this Gravedigger, and ultimately enough to eliminate it. And then the 5th phobie comes out for our blue player. It's a Cowbell. 2-to-1 panic point advantage for the orange player, but I could definitely see this sliding in a different direction in short order. Now, I imagine that this Cassowary, I was going to say Contortio, but this Cassowary is going to go down, which it does. And then it's a 3-to-0 panic point advantage for the orange player with an erratic follow-up. Erratic follow-up here. So we do finally see a, well, maybe not finally, but we're getting a panic point going blue, alleviating some of the strain, stemming some of the bleeding. Still 5 phobies, adding a Jar to the mix, which is a good idea here. Soften up the Unicorn, soften up the Erratic. You do have a number of mechanical phobies, but these are all low enough in general that, because they're low keys, obviously, that the Erratic is going to chew through them regardless of whether they were mechanical or not. Just slightly faster now. It's really just a matter of whether, for example, the Erratic at 700 damage would have to one-shot the Cowbell or two-shot. It's a one-shot. That's the part that's notable. If it was a little bit higher at level 1, the Cowbell, it wouldn't matter, because who cares? You're just still getting what you need out of it. In this case, what we need is the Cowbell to cap this point. It eats a trap and does exactly that. Now, the Cowbell's going to die. Contortio will replace it. It's just a question of where does the Erratic go? And in this case, it is choosing to go after this Canine. Makes sense, because you're going to start cleaning up your opponent's board. Sure, you take some lava damage, but that is how this map plays out. Are we going to see a 1-drop? No. Okay, so we get an aggressive Contortio invade. Get an aggressive Contortio invade, but no follow-up to cap the top point. I was expecting it to go top, but this is reasonable. 6 keys on the side of our blue player, 6 keys on the side of our orange player. We do get a block, which is a cool play from our blue player in order to section this off once again, since the orange Gravedigger has been eliminated. It actually lands on a trap, because if you didn't know, placing obstacles on traps will activate them. Klepto is the follow-up. Makes sense in this position, but there's also a Klepto here for the orange player, and oof, that one hurts. That one hurts. Erratic's sliding up to get in on the action. I imagine we're going to see a retreat from our blue player, but we'll see what they do. 3 keys left for both players. I do like this play, utilizing your own statue, because it's clearly going to go down. Get some stray damage onto the opposing Klepto. This is bold. The Gravedigger invade. Now, realistically, I guess the Gravedigger's not doing much else at this stage. But the last 3 keys are invested in Baby Snakey. Also an interesting decision. Although the Baby Snakey is in position to put a hurt on this Erratic if it goes into position, which it does. So we're going to see a dead jar. Ugh, this hurts. This hurts. And part of why wasn't excited about the jar moving up, because the splash and the splash means a dead jar, and at this stage, I don't know how you come back from this position as blue player. This hurts. And you have to kill the Erratic and then not lose anything meaningful on the return, because then you also have to kill Klepto. It's like these 3 Phobies have to kill Bowmangles, Klepto, and Erratic, and then you might be in the game. Emphasis on the might. But as it is, we're looking at under half health Klepto, full health Baby Snakey and Spud. But the Baby Snakey's in range of both the Unicorn and the jar. Clearly the Klepto and the Bowmangles are going to eliminate Klepto, or whatever combination is necessary. This one's rough. This is a... oh no. Never mind, it's just Spud. They can actually kill the Snakey. I didn't even look at the numbers, but I think we can safely skip through this one, chat. GG. GG. Well played to both players. Alright, here we are, another game in round 2 for Fright Night number 3. As always, if you want to get involved in Fright Night, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. It'll be in the video description. Of course, the live stream is also there if you want to come by and watch some live Phobies action. RTChompGG over on Twitch. And as always, likes and subscribes help. But we're zoning in here. We have Urk in the blue trunks and DT in the orange trunks on Home Sweet Home. We were just looking at a different game on this map, but we'll see what these players have in store for us. And as predicted, DT is in fact starting off with Bowmangles, one of the turrets that has become a DT signature. Now, Urk here has gone for Cassowary and Boomer as the opener. Pretty abnormal for this map, and a jar follow-up. But the jar does allow for some pot shots to go down on Bowmangles, hypothetically that is, in order to ensure that it is ready to die when Urk wants it to. But we get the double turret follow-up. The invade with the Contortio is a little abnormal, I think, from DT, because it can relatively easily die, and we have a triple panic point advantage going to our blue player. It seems wasteful to get rid of that Contortio right now. But we are going to see a dead Boomer. Something is going to get yoinked into position. It's just a question of what. Probably nothing, actually, now that I say it, because you could go Bowmangles, Bowmangles, Stabby. And we got the Cowbell. Cowbell follow-up, you do need some 1 keys. We do have a Boom, and this, unfortunately, this Boomer is still alive, so Urk is in a pretty good position. Urk is in a pretty good position. Because this is another small map that can very easily snowball, where you end up with just a ton of stuff pushing damage on your opponent's heart, namely the panic points, but then you can just dive the heart at some point. We've seen a number of those games. But DT is playing this pretty patiently. Finally gets rid of the Boomer, no damage going down because Boomer has no attack. And then we have a Quagmire who is not going to die to this onslaught here. 8 keys banked for our blue player. Only 3 remaining for our orange player because, of course, Quagmire. But we do get a follow-up sheep. And the boom goes in. The boom goes in, but the cassowary repositions. Huh. So 7 out of the 8 keys are expended. Murder Wing rounds out this particular turn. 2-to-1 panic point advantage now for our blue player. And we get Tickles. You love to see Tickles. Tickles is one of my favorite phobies. This Tickles, because remember, everything is at level 1. 750 health, so fairly sizable. It will die if all this stuff goes in, but we'll see. We will see. Get some pot shots going down, get some repositioning by the sheep and the Murder Wing, and a Hydra as the follow-up. Now at level 1, I haven't seen a level 1 Hydra in a while. This is 3k health and 700 damage. It's a pretty big deal. Boom was kind of a waste by attacking Quagmire. I kind of agree. I don't think it was necessary, especially if you're not planning on diving it. You could have just held it back. For what purpose? I don't know. I think the main thing was just expending it so that you could then reinforce. But I think they only ended up with 4 phobies on that turn, so it wouldn't have mattered too much. Now this is, you could call it an aggressive invade by DT. 2,600 health to 6,000 health, by the way. Full health. Triple panic point advantage going the other way, though. Although Quagmire can get poisoned, it is not actually going to die to this, or shouldn't. You can get a ton of damage going down on it. Yeah, there wouldn't have been enough, because you would have gotten another 220, like another 600 or 700. Because you could meatball plus get another jar hit. But we're getting the meatball anyway, so we'll know exactly. 380 health. It might have been worth it so that this way the Quagmire maybe dies to the poison too. No, it gains 300. And it's a smaller poison because it was the attack from the sheeping gas, not the explosion. So the sheeping gas goes down. We get the retreat from the Quagmire, presumably to get it onto this spa next turn. And it looks like we're going to see a dead Murder Wing. 6 keys banked for our blue player. 9 for our orange player available, now banked. And we'll see where we go from here. So Gin Sting is going to chew up 2/3 of the remaining keys. The Hydra does get a kill on this Tickles, which probably wasn't necessary. If you retreat it, you give up the panic point, and that might have been the reason why. But now we have double turrets holding down the fort here. Even if you reclaim one of these, you got to reclaim 2 in order to get back to pushing damage. And it's 2 keys remaining to 0 because full phobie board for our orange player, including the now DT Classic Blastomatic. I don't think there's anybody in the game who loves Blastomatic as much as DT does. We do, in fact, get a takedown here. Stabby goes down. We actually get an invade from the Hydra, ignoring the panic point. So 2-to-1 panic point advantage orange. But now, the health, if you look at the hearts, 2,800 to 2,600, it's leveled out very fast. So we're, of course, going to get some damage going on to the Gin Sting. The Blastomatic also helps out here because it's going to produce spare electric damage. Get the Quagmire to body block here, I guess. I don't know that really matters. And we get the retreat so that the Bowmangles doesn't die. Now, our blue player could, of course, cap some points, but it's Maggie, Hydra, and Jar against Blastomatic, Quagmire, and Bowmangles. This does not look good. Does not look good. No bueno. So we do see ultimately the Hydra go down, and there are turns left in this game, but, I mean, yes, the Quagmire could die, but let's be real. We're going to have to skip these ones, because, yeah, that's a dead fly. And that's going to be the ball game for DT. Grats and GG. Well played, both players. Very nice. That's going to do it. As always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.